All right, well, I want to welcome everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Again, I apologize for the late start, but work sessions have run over. Official time's 6:36. I need approval of the agenda at this time.
So moved, Chairman.
We have a motion approved. Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it. Tonight, Mr. Tim Ingram was going to do our invocation and pledge, but he wasn't able to make it, so Commissioner Robinson, he said he would fill in for him.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for Jones County. We thank you for the wonderful employees that serve Jones County every day. We thank you for the department heads and our attorney and our clerk and everyone involved in serving this great county. We pray that all our decisions will be pleasing to you. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, Commissioner Robinson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Huh? You control it. We don't argue with a woman when she says it's hot. We've learned. Just you wear jackets in the boardroom in the summertime. We move on tonight to the consent agenda and approval for minutes. We have work session on November 19th of 2019. Also on that date, November 19th, we had third Tuesday, and also an executive session on November 19th. The board had opportunity to look at the minutes, and if so, I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. New business tonight. We've got a young lady here we want to recognize. Miss Applin has 41 years of service on the Jones County Board of Library Board. Miss Applin? 41 years. I think you were one of the first people. We had tonight, we had a round of applause, absolutely. Ms. Applin recently retired from the Jones County Library Board of Trustee after 41 years of dedicated service. Ms. Applin served as chairman for around 10 years. During her 41 years on the library board, Ms. Applin was a part of several potential improvements on the library facility. The library is housed in an old house located in Gerald Park. Ms. Applin started her service. Most recently, Ms. Applin oversaw the move to the new renovated building on Railroad Street. Whereas all Jones Countyans owe Ms. Applin a debt of gratitude for commitment both to library and literacy. Board of Commissioners wish to express appreciation for Ms. Applin for 41 years of dedication to service to the library, a lifetime dedication to the youth of Jones County. This day, December 3rd, 2019. Yes, we also, that resolution, okay. We need a motion to approve that
Motion
resolution.
to approve the resolution, Chairman.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Now we got the motion approved, that's great. We all right? I could have got you a order. Okay, approval to purchase equipment at auction. Mr. Goins, I looked over that list and I see a lot of good equipment on there.
There he is, yes, sir. We came to you the last meeting to ask to have this on the agenda. As you know, the last 3 or 4 years or longer, we've gone down to Moultrie to the Weeks Farm auction. Every year in December, they have an absolute auction, and you're able to get some good quality equipment at a really, really good price. So this year, the two pieces of equipment that we need at the golf course is a tractor that has turf tires and hydraulic connections on the back of it. The ones that we have, we've already sent off to the salvage yard. And we need a Pro Gator also. Like to ask permission to for these two items to be able to be purchased if we find them worthy to purchase for under our bid price, which would stay under $10,000.
Any questions for Mr. Goins? I entertain a motion.
So moved, Chairman.
We have a motion. We have a second. Second. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye. Ayes have
The,
it.
the next thing is, I don't want to step on John's toes, but talking with him about a piece of equipment that he's interested in. We've been talking to Mr. Risner about it. It's called a Buffalo blower. It goes behind a piece of equipment. It's basically an air turbine.
That 3-point hitch?
Yes, sir. That blows debris out of off dirt roads.
The one he's talking about is a pool.
Right. You can pull it behind a truck, pull it behind a golf cart, pull it behind a tractor, or whatnot. They have them down there at this auction. They go anywhere. I've seen them go as anywhere from 800 up to 5,000. Brand new ones run. The cheapest one you're gonna buy brand new is 7,800, and they go from 7,800 up to 14,000. I'm not asking to buy it for John. I'm asking is if it's there and John finds it worthy. I guess yes, I am asking to buy it if with John's permission. I'm not buying it for John.
Out of his budget.
I'm saying I'm not buying it without John's permission if he finds it
Out of your
worthy.
budget for John.
No, sir. No,
John always
sir.
has
This
out of
is
his
just.
budget for somebody else.
He was just asking me what was there, and I figured since we were on the agenda here, I told him I would ask y'all again. It's a piece of equipment that they do have at this auction,
They had several of them.
and again, it may or may not be what he's looking for. You don't really know till you get down there and put eyes and hands on it. But if we do it, it's there, and we communicate with John, and it's something that he finds that's suitable for what he's looking for. You hate for the opportunity to go by.
You can use that blower all the time.
Especially on these dirt roads this time of the year. I mean, my guys out there scraping and the pine straw and leaves pile all over. And they gotta find somebody to push that stuff and it's got rock, tangle rock up in it.
What dollar figure are you looking at?
I mean, I'd say I wouldn't spend any more than about $3,700 on one.
Have you got the money? It's lost?
I ain't talked to them.
I wouldn't answer that then.
I think the money's in the splosh.
I think you had some left over in Splosh.
Right.
I'll entertain a motion.
I mean, it'll save us money on rock.
You can blow that pine straw off the road.
I mean,
I'd like to try a used one just to see how it worked before we went and invested in a new one.
And what John would need, and they again sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but he needs one that has either a wireless remote or a lanyard remote one, so that the person in the equipment or vehicle can operate the turbine arm, without having to get out every time to change direction of the turbine.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any more discussion?
Well,
What dollar amount did you have?
I said no higher than 3,700.
Okay. Max. All right, any more discussion? None? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Anyone? Aye or opposed?
Oh, aye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You were shaking your head no.
I was shaking my head like, Levita's not here, and y'all need to know how much money you can spend. But
You had me scared.
I'm gonna leave that one on them.
I would like just to see if it, because I know what you're talking about, the pine straw and everything, just to see how it worked on a used basis, so we didn't invest all that, and that way, if it was a winner for the county, then we could possibly either.
We have an old one at the golf course that it's not a manual. It's a manual. It's not a wireless or a lanyard lead. It's one you have to constantly get on and off of to change the direction of the turbine. I mean, he can definitely use it as a one-way blower to see if it works, and we can get it to him tomorrow.
All right, well, let's know how the auction goes. All right, oh, don't go nowhere. Donation of property on Highway 18,
We've been working with this gentleman, Ashton Holloway, on the property at the corner of Allen Green and Highway 18. And spoke with him again today. Again, he's looking to donate that land, 1.2 acres, I believe, is what the plot says, to the county for tax credit, and then the county would also cover whatever transaction fees is to move it from his name into the county's name.
So, we would not assign a value to it. It would be a deed of gift if he's gonna gifted over. And then we could send him a letter on our letterhead, you know, thanking him for his donation, and then he would go through his accountant as far as signing a value and dealing with any tax credit. My question is whether or not we're gonna need a survey. Is this 1 whatever acres part of a larger parcel, or is it already?
It's already broken out.
It's already broken out, so it would have its own legal description.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because then we won't necessarily have to have a survey, which would save us that expense. But I wasn't sure if it was already sort of broken out or if it was part of
On
a larger
the-
piece.
Correct me, Mr. Jason, if I'm wrong. On the tax plat, it's already broken out.
Something makes me think it was part of it sort of got really narrow and then it wrapped back around on the other side of the property.
It went wide at 18, and then, at Allen Green, and as it went down 18, it narrowed down, like a piece of pizza.
Okay, I'll look at it. If what he's donating is not already sort of broken out so that boundaries are already defined, then we'll need to get it surveyed. If it is, then we won't have to have that expense, but I can look at it and see, and regardless, if the board approves it, then it would be, he would convey us the property by a deed of gift, and then I could send him that letter on letterhead for his tax credit.
And again, I guess what I'm looking for tonight is permission from the board for Mr. Jason and Miss Ashley to go into talks, and if it falls apart, at that point, then it falls apart. But what we would do is, I've already spoken with Morris Bank, and what we would like to do is put a sign right there that mimics real closely to what the high school has in front of the high school. So that would eventually down the road become the main entrance in the Morris Bank Recreation Complex with a nice entrance sign.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second? Second. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Move on to 4 tonight, adopt policy governing duty weapons for retired law enforcement officers. This is OCGA 35-1-20. Mr. Resner?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. State law permits local governments to adopt a policy whereby law enforcement officers may be allowed to keep their service weapon in their badge as part of the compensation when they retire or become disabled in the line of duty. The sheriff's office has requested that the board consider adopting a policy in line with that Georgia Code section. And so what you have before you tonight over on page 11 is a resolution that recites the code section and says that deputies from the Jones County Sheriff's Office may be entitled as a part of his or her compensation to retain his or her weapon and badge in accordance with the guidelines and procedures of the Jones County Sheriff's Office. And we inserted that so that, you know, the Sheriff's Office can put some guidelines in place. So it's not just a provision that applies to every single person that retires necessarily. But anyway, it's a resolution that was requested by the Sheriff's Office and have for you for consideration. Any questions from Mr. Resner?
Oh, obviously, the badge is just commemorative piece of metal, not, because the badge number is, would it be taken out? So I guess my theory is, if you got 300 employees and your badges go from 0 to 300, at some point, everybody that retires, you gotta get different badge numbers. So do they retire the badge number, or?
I'm not sure how they do that.
I mean, obviously, it would just go out of service and that badge number could be used for
There's
another.
somebody in the back that can answer that question for us.
Mr. Douglas, would you like to come forward and explain this?
100% certainty, but usually what we do is we recycle out those numbers unless the sheriff deemed that that's the number he wanted to retire. I would think, I'm not speaking for the sheriff, but usually, it'd probably be a badge, let's say retired duty that you have, that you wear, they were wearing their duty weapon to, hey. So if Mr. Jimmy up here, even though, hey, that's a retired officer, Jones County, just, shouldn't signifies, but I would think they would, like I said, I can't say, but usually we recycle those numbers. Not sure if I answered that question, but
No, I think it's, if the sheriff thinks he's got enough badges, if he needs to go to a higher set of numbers, I mean, I think that's up to him. But, yeah, I do see a lot of retired deputies come back as bailiff, as part-time, they do a lot of stuff, like that, and I definitely don't have a problem with it. I think that's a law enforcement issue and a law enforcement decision.
Well,
And the highest law enforcement officer in our county.
So you made the
should
motion?
be making that. I'll make that motion, Chairman.
Second.
Second, any more discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it, thank you. All right, Ward Transit bid, Mr. Resner, you're still on. You knew you were sitting in the front row for a reason.
So, some time ago, GDOT approached us and let us know that we needed to bid out our 5311 transit service. And for that, we use a third-party operator. And that third-party operator for many years has been Middle Georgia Community Action Agency. And 5311 is the service that you call if you need to go to a doctor's appointment or the grocery store or anywhere else, and you pay a small fee, and they'll take you there and come back and pick you up. So we bid out the third-party operator responsibilities there. We received one proposal back, and it was from our current provider. Didn't hear from anybody else or receive any other proposals. So my recommendation would be to award the bid to Middle Georgia Community Action Agency, subject to GDOT and legal review.
Any questions from Mr. Resner?
I am curious, where do we post that? Because I know that's a very specific niche.
It's, so with all our bids and RFPs now, we post them on the county website, the GLGA, which is Georgia Local Government Access, and then the state procurement registry.
Right.
And that gets picked up by any number of services that put out this kind of thing. So we're certainly trying to cast as wide a net as we can on that. And it's still advertised in the newspaper as well.
And because I know most of our rural counties, we all use some similar service. I'm just curious if Middle Georgia is in Jasper, Putnam, and Baldwin.
I think they do provide similar services in a good many other counties in this area. They do a lot of this type of work, and then we also have an agreement with them for our senior center.
Right, and I know they've done a good job. We had a couple complaints a few years back, and they corrected it, so we haven't had any issues as of late, and I don't think anybody here has heard anything, so I'm okay with it. But normally, I'd just like to see more than one group bid on it. All right, thank you. Motion to approve.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? None? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. All right, our resolution of support recreational trails grant application. Mr. Resner?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. You recall that we have been working on a recreational trails grant application, and we've submitted that. One element that we need to go back and one loose end, I guess, to tie up is having the board approve a resolution of support. And so in your packet, I have a resolution there. It's based on the template that's provided by DNR. And basically what you're acknowledging here is that it's you agree to finance 100% of the project, and they're going to give you 80% of it back. So it's a 20% match, and we have applied for the Jakes Woods Trail project there, and applied for money to acquire the property there, and then our match would be used to start establishing a trail in a parking area there. So I would just ask for the board to approve the resolution.
You want to do it again?
No, I got a question. So what happened to 49 Trails?
We could only submit one project per jurisdiction.
I didn't remember any discussion about going to just one.
I can't remember.
Fair enough.
I know where the machine is, we put it in quick. The offer still stands. Look for a motion.
Motion to approve the resolution.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Yeah, another question though, I mean,
Second in the,
yeah, I'm
Second
kind
and
of, huh?
second.
discuss.
Then
Let's
discuss.
second and then discuss, and then
Yeah.
y'all can vote
I
on
may not want to second if I want to discuss
it.
it.
Well, second to discuss
Yeah,
it.
second to discuss. Thank you, council.
All right, we got a second to discuss, okay?
Yeah, I thought the last discussion we were, is it because they compete against each other? I don't remember voting one and the other one. I thought we were going after both of them too, but there was a.
They'll only let
limited
you,
amount.
they'll only let you submit one per jurisdiction unless you're partnering with another jurisdiction.
And that would have been a good opportunity for us to dialogue theoretically with, you know, whether it was the city or if the city council is a jurisdiction, or which project actually yielded some great level of return back to the community. And from a dollars perspective, if Jake's Woods was X dollars and this other project was this big, from a match perspective, I think we'd have got more bang for our buck with the alternative project. I know, you're the messenger.
Is any of Jake Woods in the city?
No.
Any of that trail coming through Clinton at all?
I don't think so.
Any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
3-1. Work-based learning program. Ms. Ritter, you've been busy tonight.
I'll take part of this and then I'll let Donald handle the rest.
That's why you're laughing, this is yours.
So, in our building maintenance department, as you know, our director has been out for some time with various illnesses and so forth, and so we have a spot there that hasn't been filled for some time. In talking with Donald, you know, something I suggested was maybe working with the College and Career Academy to see if we could get paired up with a student that could come over and work in our building maintenance department to, you know, I think there could be some very real benefit to both the student and to the, and to the county. So what we would like to do is have you vote to authorize Donald to hire a student, and we would pay him some amount, you know, in the minimum wage area. You know, they,
And it would be part-time as well.
part-time, and it's just a temporary commitment, so there's no long-term commitment on our part. So, and we would look to get started with that, I guess, after the Christmas break, and hopefully that'll go great, and we can look to use some of those students in other areas as well.
I got a question. Is there an age requirement, and what about the liability?
There is an age, they gotta be 16, and they have to have driver's license to come on board, but they would not be able to drive county equipment. We would have to take them everywhere they go, which, I mean,
I think we would certainly be very careful with what sort of responsibilities we assign to them, and
Right.
and I don't anticipate, you know, turning them loose at any point. So I think it would be more of a helper type role than anything else.
I guess my question is, would our insurance, workers' comp or whatever, cover a 16-year-old when we require 18-year-olds for employment?
well, according to, what was her name, Miss Kathy Ferguson, they already use them at the school board. Spear Electric already uses them, so I don't think it's an issue as far as, you know,
I think we
according to
could
her.
do it basically pending those questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
And
I'm all for
insurance.
the
insurance and liability issues that might come from. And I agreed, based on the results we've seen from College and Career Academy, producing students that go straight into a work-based learning atmosphere. I don't know of many things better we can do for our kids than support the College and Career Academy, and no better than bringing them right here and getting them started on a career path. So 100% support it, Chairman.
Commission, your motion is based on insurance requirement?
Yes, I'd like to have, you know, answers to those. In theory, I'm 100% for this, but I'd like those questions answered.
I'll second based on those questions. And
So are you all approving the program based on
Age.
whether or not it's covered under our insurance? Or you wanna wait?
No, he's approving it based on the stipulation that our insurance will allow somebody under the age of 18.
If it does, it's fine.
Okay.
I just wanna make sure the
Any more
motion was clear.
I second that clarified motion.
Any more discussion? None, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Finally, you don't have to, or is John gonna get you to do his too? Old business, LMIG. Road assessments, Mr. Lowe?
While John's coming up there, I can talk a little bit about this.
He's already
in-
there.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
In your packet, you have, basically what we've done here is we've taken the published list of roads, 1 through 10 there, and then, Mr. Wendell has graded each of those roads based on the Pacer rating system. We're over on
I got page 22 now. Where you at?
24.
Were these the original roads that were online as well?
So 1 through 10
Yeah.
is the original list of roads, and then you'll see the others there where I've got new in that first column, or ones that have been added. Dye Road is one where we had a constituent come a couple times and express concerns, and then there are some others there. Overland Way was one that Public Works expressed an interest in resurfacing this time around, and so we went ahead and added those roads as well, just for the purposes of this conversation.
Where did Shady Road Plaza go? 'Cause that was on the list.
So was,
That's,
or was that the paving district?
it's not paved right now,
No.
correct?
Okay. I was
Neither is
asking-
Luke Smith, so I was just curious.
Luke Smith is paid.
All
Part
of
of
Smith
that.
is paved, all
Part
of
of
it is
it.
last.
So they talking about resurfacing
Oh,
the
resurfacing
park.
just, okay, I'm
Yeah, I was
thinking of
gonna
that
ask you.
other section.
Same thing,
No,
'cause we
it's
had,
not
we had
paved.
Cheat
Okay.
Hall and, the other one that we get so many calls on.
McKay Road.
McKay,
Those are all, paving though, not resurfacing. This
Okay.
is only resurfacing, right?
That's
right.
So your 1 through 10 would be for 2020?
Huh?
1 through 10 would be on 2020?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, whichever road y'all want us to do.
because here's my question, Chairman. The ones that are newly added, the rating was worse than some of the ones that are on our top 10, so.
Especially the number two.
Yeah, number 2 is the highest rating. I'm assuming a 3 is worse than a 7.
The lower the number, the worse it is.
Right, so we've got all of the ones that were added new are 2 points at a minimum lower than number 2, number 4, number 5, number 6, well, all the top 10. Well, other than 1 and 3, all of the new ones are worse than all the top 10. So are we truly gonna go by the need that we talked about, which would be my recommendation? Because we need to get politics out of it, we need to get preference out of it, we need to get anything we can out of it other than the basis of need, my opinion.
I think that. I agree. I think that we need to go with need because I'm looking at the scores. We can put them on 21 to be revisited to see what they're. So you're talking about taking the
So that moves 3 up to 1 and then 1 to 2.
I'm just gonna say this.
Well, number 1 now, Griswold, it needs to be
Yeah, that's high traffic.
resurfaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm only gonna say this, I know you guys are gonna do it anyway, but you told constituents that, hey, this has been posted up on the website, we're gonna honor that. And these people have been fighting for their roads for years, I'm just throwing it back out at you. I know Rizaville may be an exception because it's highly trafficked, and I don't know all these other roads, but you also made a promise to your constituents, so just keep that in mind. My roads are way down the list, so it's not a big deal for me.
But your Bethune I travel it a good bit.
Oh, yeah,
And
it's way down the list. It's number 9. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I'm
you
not-
made
I'm-
promises
I'm-
to your other
I
constituents.
see it's got priorities. I was looking at the list. Let's turn it upside down. Here's a bit at the top.
Yeah, if you turned it, we would be so lucky. So I'm just reminding y'all that. Because a lady came up here and she reminded y'all, and y'all said, yeah, we're going to focus on what was on the web and what we posted.
Well, the 6th and
Which
7th
road was that?
She came up advocating for another road, and then y'all reminded her that, hey, we were trying to go off of what was posted on the web, because that was
Hear
on,
about the Dye Road, which is
Yeah.
Right,
down there.
which was never looked at, so I mean, I
Yeah.
think,
I'm just reminding you what you said. It's okay. I do agree, worst roads should get done first. But I would also say your most highly traveled roads. I don't know Otis Redding travel versus, I know Grizzleville is heavily traveled. It's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah,
Otis Redding's got a
Grizzleville.
lot of pots, patches in it.
Who?
I know Otis Redding's got a lot of patches in it.
Oh, yeah.
I was down it the other day.
Well, that's the only one on the whole list that has a 2.
And where's Fortville Road? Because I have no clue.
It's right
it's
out,
out towards,
at the end
It's
of
out
the 3 lane.
129.
Highly
towards
traveled?
Haddock.
Yeah, it's a cut-through road, just like Grizzleville. and-
More traveled than Otis Redding or less traveled?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The shortcut road.
Okay.
And it's a 3, you know, it's ranked third, basically third worst out of all of them too.
I mean, Otis Redding, if we keep putting it off, you're gonna have to do reclamation work on it.
Yeah, we're gonna be like we were on Comer Road.
Right.
Because it's, I agree, you know, Otis Redding for sure. Altman being at 6 and 7. For some reason, I was saying it wasn't that long since Altman was done though, was it?
Hadn't anything been done on Altman since I've been here.
I
I've been
would-
here 11 years.
I would move to remove Altman because it's a 6 or 7, 6, 7, and then put Fortville in that place. And I don't know where any of these roads are really, but I'm sure I traveled on Altman.
So you want Fortville up there at number 2?
Based on, well, I would put it under Otis based on your numbers, but based on travel, I'd probably put it 2 and move Altman to the alternative if y'all are really going to move roads.
My suggestion would be to let's categorize these based on need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it looks like Otis Redding would be number 1, Grizzleville would be number 2, Fortville number 3, Crestwood number 4, Dye Road and Walnut Ridge and Overland, 5, 6, 7. So rate them 1 through whatever it is, 15 that way, and then we can start determining if they're in the top 5 and one of them is a lot more traveled. If number 3 is a lot more traveled than number 2, maybe it gets a little preference because if you don't do it now, it's going to be a worse if we wait a year than one that's less traveled. So the wear factor on it's going to be greater. But I ain't saying I didn't say it, but I don't remember saying these have always been on the list because most of these were on the list when I got here. So, but I'll stand behind I'll stand behind saying that we base it off need, and
We can
that's
do it
the right
off
thing
need,
to
but
do.
let's, let's make it known publicly to advertise that, that these roads that we put on the 2021, due to the need of some more deteriorating road. Well, you
Well, like I said, Overland Way, that's oh Lord,
Yeah.
that's a bunch of traffic go through there.
Well, you've got a lot of
I mean,
kids
Grizzleville,
following that to get to the high school. Overland Way.
Grizzleville, that's a cut-through road from Highway 18 all the way to 49.
And Grizzleville's number 2, so I mean, yeah, it's got like 1, 2, Fortville's 3. You already got the numbers
I
done.
do. Fortville would be 3, Crestwood would be 4, Overland Way would be 5,
Hold on now.
You do a lot of crossroad puzzles, though.
Fortville 3,
Crestwood
West Run
4,
4,
Overland Way would be 5, Walnut Ridge would be 6, Dye Road would be 7, Royal Lane would be 8. Confederate 9. Luke Smith 10. Whitehead 11. Liberty Ridge Road 12. Bethune 13.
I don't know Whitehead, Liberty versus Bethune traffic. So if we're
Yeah.
back to traffic, then I'm gonna probably move Bethune. 'Cause
It
that's-
seems heavily, that's one,
Yeah,
another
but-
one, shortcut road.
Well, if you look at 8 through 14 are all ranked the same.
Right, I'm just
Yeah.
keeping those
Yeah.
on the list of priority that we
Right.
had them before, which would put Ruby at 14, and then last on the list at 15 would be Altman.
I'm a pessimist, you know, so Royal Lane through Ruby are all tied for 8. Now, based it on traffic counts.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
When we gotta have this list in?
December 31st.
Do it based on need and traffic count?
Need and traffic count.
Mm-hmm.
We rearrange these and have them at the next meeting?
We promise you, we won't mess you up again.
I can't promise.
Thank
that.
you.
I can't promise that, John.
I understand that too.
I promise you.
Now, I don't,
I promise the chairman was sincere in his comment, but
All right.
I don't know that we can have traffic counts by the next meeting, but Still.
Just the knowledge of their,
yeah.
Yeah.
I
just the
think we
basic
can-
knowledge, you'll know where we're at.
We can tell which roads are cut through roads and which roads.
All right.
We can do it by number.
Don't go nowhere, we got department heads next. We're gonna talk?
Got a new truck. Thank you.
Yay.
And I hope the other one's gonna be here within a week or two
You got stickers on it?
before Christmas. Jones County is already on it. Sanitation, 338. All we waiting on is the tag. I think they already got insurance on it.
You'll take a picture of it.
Oh,
Put it
yeah,
on the
we done
wall.
already done that.
That way they'll know what it's supposed to look like 10 years from now, right?
So John, all of our convenience centers have signs telling us about the holiday hours.
Yeah.
Good job.
But who reads them?
Well, I don't care who reads them. I just don't want the calls and when they don't
Well,
have
you
them.
gonna get them anyway, 'cause they ain't looking at the sign.
Yeah, but I can say the sign's posted. That ain't my problem. You can't read it, but
Yeah.
if it's not posted, then that's.
People have been talking to the folks about it too,
Yeah.
you know, so it's up there.
Mr.
And
Gold?
our, and our holiday hours are on our website as far as when the county's closed. Jason?
I'll check.
Okay.
Mr. Gold?
Communication.
Yes, sir. Just a couple things. One, some good news. We received a $500 grant from Walmart for our First Readers Foundation program.
Right.
That program is continuing to grow. We're around 80 kids right now that receive one book a month through the First Readers program. So I'm very pleased with how that program is going. And
You said 80?
yes, sir. And so it's just gonna, it's gonna be it's a slow push, and we're doing that on purpose because obviously there's limited funds, and when the money runs out, obviously somebody got to beat the streets to raise more money. So we're walking our way into this because we don't want the money to flow out, and then all of a sudden, we run out of money. Kids only get a book. The 80 that we have only got a book for 6 months, then we're out. So we're walking our way into this because we want this to be a long-term project, not just a short-term burst to get a pat on the back. We want this something to be sustainable. So the number's low by design, and we're walking our way into it. The second thing I just wanted to give kudos to John and his people. I was fortunate enough to be invited by the school board, the superintendent and athletic director, to come out Sunday to help figure out how to put seats around our stadium for our game Friday night to host the semifinals. And in the meantime, we had to come up with a game plan, which involved a lot of groundwork. I called John, he was on board. Called Jason, he was very supportive of John getting on board. First thing Monday morning, his crew got out there and built a 84 by 37 pad thereabouts, something like that. So anyway, I just want to give kudos to his people for jumping on board Monday morning at 30 degrees and like y'all said, intergovernmental work, and so.
Saves taxpayers' money.
And thank you for answering your phone Sunday, Jason.
All right, Donald? Oh, he got a notebook, we're in trouble.
No. Just want to let the board know that we've got the LED lighting going. They've completed here at the Government Center. EMA is complete, the gym is complete, and they've started on the courthouse. So we've got that. It's been a chore, but we've got it going.
Right.
They locked Judge Green out this morning out of his office. But we getting it done.
It's nice and bright, isn't it?
It is bright. Also, we got the River Rock ordered for the drainage system. Should be here end of this week, first of next week. So we got that done. Let's see. We got a meeting tomorrow on the plumbing, getting the plumbing started for the Government Center as well. So we're making some improvement. Things are going in the right direction.
It's great.
That's all
Thank
I
y'all very
got.
much.
Yep.
Thank you
Thank
for your
y'all.
hard work. Mr. Graham?
Thank y'all.
I was watching you on the edge of your seat. I said, I'm just gonna pick at him. I'm gonna look at you and go left.
I don't have anything tonight, although last week before we broke for Thanksgiving, submitted the grant for our backup generator or generator next door. I feel pretty sure we'll be on board there. It's $50,000. That actually have already been approved, but we haven't seen it in writing yet. But they called me and said that we got it, and they'll be sending you a letter. The next thing we need to do is we're looking at the generator that we've got at the tower, at our INOP tower. We'll remove it and put in a new one there, and that one will go to animal control, and that'll serve them well, I'm sure, because they don't have anything out there right now. So that generator is about 15 years old, but it still is functional. There's some new odds and ends that you've got to have on these towers now when it comes to generation, and so we'll be updating and then updating them too. So I appreciate everything y'all have done this year. I'll be coming before the board the next meeting. I'm kind of confused about the meeting tomorrow and all that, but I'll be coming before the board our next regular scheduled meeting to go ahead and purchase pickup trucks to replace our existing rescue units. So we're going to power down and go with gasoline, and we'll go in with the pickup trucks and the sliders and the tops to put on them, and go battery operated tools. So that's all I got tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Resner?
Mr. Chairman, you and I were talking earlier today, and I just wanted to give the board an update on our situation with the right-of-way out on Howard Roberts Road and the bridge project there that we've been working with GDOT on. A few meetings ago, the board approved using THC Incorporated to assist us with acquiring that right-of-way. And we had been, or we understood at that time that we might be able to use them at a cost of around $20,000 as opposed to having to take $170,000 and send it to GDOT so that they could do the right-of-way acquisition. After the approval of that agreement, the chairman and I talked, and we said it might be good to just revisit the issue one last time with GDOT, just to make sure that this approach is acceptable to them and that we don't run into problems down the line. So as I went through that process and started talking to different folks there, the the latest word that I think I understand from them is that in order to use an outside company like THC to acquire the right-of-way, the county has to be, it's called LAP certified, and I think it's locally administered projects. So, and we are not currently LAP certified. And so I think at this point, I don't think we can engage THC to do that work. And the agreement was approved, but we haven't signed the contract with them. So, so I think you've probably got a couple different options there. One would be to pay GDOT the $170,000 and let them do the right of way, hoping that maybe some of it comes back at the end of it. Another option would be to allow me or John or someone from the county to go through that LAP certification process. That involves going to a number of classes over the course of several months. And what I've been told from my contact at GDOT is if we go through a delay like that, it could jeopardize the funding for the project. Now, I don't know what the chances of that are or not, but that's kind of the word that we've been given, and so I think those are, probably your two options at this point, or you could just back away altogether, knowing that eventually we're going to have to do something to that bridge, because I think it has been rated in such a way that some repair work has to be done there. So I think it was patched, probably not the right word, but there was a Band-Aid put on it some years back, and so it is in need of some substantial improvement. But I think those are kind of the three options you have before you at this point.
You've actually had two different answers. You can't, 5 different people, and you've got 2 different answers. Yes, we can, no, we can't.
Right.
So it's a little confusing, who's right and who's wrong. I'm gonna check into when our next MATS meeting is, because there'll be some people there I can ask the same question to while we're in that arena.
Knowing what we know now, what it costs to get that property and what it would take to have that right away so we could do the work, no way I'd vote to give them $170,000 when we know what it costs. I mean, if they can't guarantee us that, if they can't use the same people we were gonna use and get the same blamed property, I got a problem with that.
Well, the people we're using
It's certified through them.
does this for them, so
Right.
that's my confusion. Why,
Well-
if these people do this actual work, they just, in a presentation, they're doing 285 right now. If they're doing that actual work for GDOT now, why can't they do this actual work for Phillips County?
Well, I'm sure that's what that says in book page 7 on part B, is this is the rule and nobody can think outside of that. Section B.
All right.
So,
All right. Anything else?
That's all I've got.
We got a sheriff's report from Mr.
No hounds, everything's going great.
yes.
You got out of that pretty quick, didn't you? I miss anybody?
Learning.
I do have a question for you all. We had some discussion about the rental contract provisions for like our Genesco Clubhouse, when there was an issue at the auditorium. Matt sent me these and I've taken a look at them, and there's some, I want you to just sort of let me know what direction you want me to go. I'll make some tweaks and then bring them back for you all to approve. But, our Genesco, we charge a different amount depending on where it is as far as security per hour. And is there is that something you all wanna stick with? One of these has $25 an hour for security, one is $30 an hour. Or do you wanna make that consistent, sort of across the board? Do you know why it's different?
I don't, I do not. It should be $25 an hour, a minimum 3 hours.
Okay.
And even if they exceed 50 guests, then it goes to 2 deputies, still at $25 an hour, still at minimum 3 hours.
Because our auditorium, we charge, is $30 an hour that we have for law enforcement, so I'll tweak that.
That may be a new one because after, I think it was about a year ago, industry standards, they went up from 25 to 30.
Well,
Because
then, on our other rental contracts, we still have it at 25, so we
Yeah.
need to see what they're charging, so that can be consistent. And then my other question, was, Commissioner Kitchens, you had brought up that we allow, the rental fee to stay at Genesco is $200 a day, and we allow from 9 o'clock that morning to 12:01 a.m., but if they're allotted the entire day to utilize this facility, when are they required to have security there? Because we don't specify really in our contract, in our agreement with the, renter, when they need security.
here's the contracts I wrote that said, if you're renting it for this day, you tell me what you want your event to be, from 8 in the morning to 12, from 12 to 8 at night, from 2 in the afternoon to 10 at night. We require security anytime you're on our property. So that kind of tends to dwindle down, that we get it at 8 o'clock in the morning to 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
So if you want to pay for 16 hours at $30 an hour for a sheriff deputy to be there, more power to you.
And that's a long time using the facility, like, you know, if they're running the power all day and the air and things like that for $200 a day.
Right, yeah, and it tends to get them to shorten that window down to, you know, we had to have on the contract itself, it has a start time and end time, and then a setup time and a breakdown time. So, and it's usually an hour before to set up and an hour to take down, unless you're having something like a concert where they're gonna set up a stage or food vendors or something like that take longer than an hour. But that's why they're special events, you know, but just a
Right.
rental, you know,
Well, that's the same line of thought I had, is we need to sort of narrow down, when they are utilizing the facility, and make it a requirement that at all times there's a guard on site, if that's something you all wanna do.
and
Right
my
now,
contracts had 3 hours, half a day, or full day.
Right.
And they were different.
in different
different
prices.
pricing, yeah.
Right now, we just have a flat 200 a day, from 9 a.m. to 12 at night, and just a minimum of 3 hours with our deputy, but it doesn't,
Right.
we don't require, you know, that a deputy has to be on site if you're there from 9 in the morning to 12 at night. And I don't know if that's something you all,
I think we'll get more out of if somebody wanted to have a birthday party, a princess party for a little girl,
Right.
you know, and they were only gonna be there 2 or 3 hours, you know, it'd be hard to pay $200 for the venue for a couple of hours. They may pay $150 for 2 hours or 3 hours. Now, you know, and I'm just going off memory, my contracts were, I think it was $150 for 3 hours, $400 for half a day, and $600 for the whole day.
do you all wanna change it to where it's more of sort of a structured and not just a blanket 200?
And that included cleanup, us cleaning it up, but the only thing they paid for was the deputy outside, and it was anytime. Because it's not just for their protection, it's, you know, we unlock the door and let somebody in, you know, it's real easy to say, oh, that was broke when I got here, you know.
I think we should have a work session on this and then invite our constituents to participate. I think this is one of those fringe benefits of being in the county. We pay high enough taxes. I think the least we could do is let them use a facility that may go unused if not for our residents. And then we can talk about, you know, the necessity of having a sheriff. I mean, I would have a problem with a sheriff present at my little daughter's birthday party. And even if they were going to have music and invite guests, that's not the element or presence that I want. And then we make the decisions based on that. I think a la carte, the sheriff should be present at parties based on whatever the element that requires that. And it shouldn't be subjective. We put that in writing, here are the hours you need it, and then, you know, again, have that work session to address it. I don't want to do that here because I think there are constituents that have a more valid opinion than we do because they use the facility.
Well, and y'all couldn't vote on anything right now anyway, I'm just sort of bringing it up as,
Yeah.
there needs to be some clarifications to these contracts.
Oh, yeah.
And I need you all to sort of let me know what direction.
And I think you ought to definitely share the insight you have, and of course, the thing we uncovered last week about the deposit and being over. I think the deputy is absolutely correct that they should be compensated because they were present, and the party's not over till the deputy leaves, so you owe them that money, so.
So, I'll just, one of our work sessions.
And I'll just say one other thing,
Add this to
we,
it.
it was the sheriff's decision of whether you needed security or not. And so when we said security, you could be paying somebody to be on site, security person there to open and close the door for a kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
But the sheriff determined where, obviously, if there's food sold, if there's alcohol, if there's anything like that, or if it's an 18 and over party, then obviously the sheriff would require them to have some kind of paid officer there. You know, but yeah, absolutely. You don't need a 503-year-old's birthday party
Okay. Well, we'll just.
most of the time.
We'll talk about it more then in an upcoming work session. I just sort of start brainstorming it.
That it? Commissioner Pitts just texted me and said he had to leave out early because he's got a sick child. He's at the urgent care with one of his children, but he said he apologized because family comes first. Commissioner Martin, you want to start us off tonight?
I do. I appreciate whoever made the copy for the letter that came in. I do want to read this into the record because she asked me to. Mrs. Philippa Galasco, who lives in District 4 in Jones County on Coral Way, received a letter dated February 8th, 2019 from Jason Risner, County Administrator, stating in the coming months from the letter date that the sewage connections will take place. In the letter, it states, various delays in installing a sewer system in the Sun Valley neighborhood and my property on Coral Way. Based on the letter 2 weeks from the letter, that I would be contacted by representatives of Jones County and Powell's Plumbing, the contractor working on the project. The purpose of the contract will be to coordinate the connection to the sewer system. I did not receive a contact from either representative. I was informed to set up an account by visiting Jones County Water System and pay the $100 deposit by May 2019. I did so in person. The letter also informed me that the tap fee for connection to the system was waived by the Jones County Board of Commissioners. And after the connections were completed, I will be contacted to coordinate the decommissioning of my existing septic tank. The contractor, Powell's Plumbing, did not begin work on Coral Way until August 2019. When they did begin work on my property and others, they did not advise the property owners that they would be on the property. They would just come on the property and begin working by digging large holes, block driveways, left trash and equipment for weeks at a time. Drove tractor fast on the property like they were on the highway, pulling down wires from the houses, etc. I contacted Jones County Water and Sewer Office, and the person that answered the phone had no idea about the connection of sewer system, and I left messages for the Superintendent Jeffrey Pelkey to contact me, but no responses back. Powell's Plumbing, I have dug a large hole where my septic tank is now over 2 months ago and did nothing else. So an electrician came by my house and stated he needed to run an electric line inside of my house. He did not. He did so by running from my basement under the house, which is a storage space for me, which is locked. I was told he will have to come back when the work was completed outside to connect the system. The work has not been completed outside for that task to be complete. After these events, things were done in my locked storage house, and garage were burglarized, and everything in my storage house was stolen, worth $3,500, and several things from my garage. I filed a police report with the Jones County Sheriff Department. Powell's Plumbing, the contractor, their workers do not work on regular time periods, meaning they work an average of 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 days a week. You see the workers sitting on tractors on their phones for the last month or so. They will be gone from the project on Coral Way by 10 a.m., around 10 a.m. and leave by noon. For example, November 12th, they worked for a few hours, 2 doors down from me, left the tractors on the front lawn of the property owners, did not return until November 18th, worked for a few hours for 2 days. 2 men from Piles. Plumbing came onto my property November 25th, near the house, and tried to open my locked storage under my house where the electrician put his line. They did not knock on my door. Another 3 men came back November 26th, standing at the hole. When I asked them why and what they were doing, they told me that they have to break my cement walkway, which is another hole, and could not tell me when it would be replaced. The cement walkway wasn't broken, as they said they were going to do, and there was no reason why they were on my property. I was so concerned for my safety due to the burglary on my property. I faxed a letter to Jason Risner, County Administrator, and Jones County Commissioners to advise them of my concerns. No one called me back. I received a phone call on November 26th from Brad, foreman of Powers Plumbing, stating he was told to contact me. I told him of my concerns, but he wants to make it seem as if I'm holding up work since I questioned him as to when work will be completed on my property. He stated he had some extra things added to the project by the county, which is not my problem. He came to my property later that day with one of his crew members to look, but after that he did not speak to me or inform me what would be the next step on their part. I spoke to him about leaving all their trash near my driveway on my property, which some was moved, but there were some still there. I did contact Commissioner Dalen Martin, and he did respond to me on December 1st and 2nd, and I spoke of my concerns. This is December 2nd, 2019, and no one from Powers Plumbing has come to my property and others to work, but at 7:45 a.m. this morning, they came to pick up 2 tractors that were left in the front of the property owner's door since last week. This open hole near my patio door is dangerous and hazardous from the smell of the septic tank. I have a disabled child, and I also have medical problems as well. It is not safe when you have people come in and out of your property unannounced and property being burglarized. I really want them to run whatever electrical line on the outside of my house instead of going through my locked space under the house storage since I've been burglarized. I hope that these concerns regarding sewer system connections and the work of Powers Plumbing can be completed sooner than later so the property owners in Sun Valley neighborhood in Coral Way can get their yards back in order. I hope to hear from someone soon and from Jones County with some resolutions ASAP. Thank you very much. And I know she called a few times and sent some messages, and I just spoke with her and I shared it with you all over the break. And then she sent some pictures I can't make out, but there's a big hole with some safety tape, and I've been down there and looked at it. I'm not sure if anyone else has, but they're having a tough time down there, and I hope we can get PALS, to complete it. Has been an elongated process, but she wanted me to read that on record because she could not be here. So, thank you.
Commissioner Robinson?
All is good, thank you.
All is good. Mr. Kitchen?
I don't know if we've mentioned before, but we were awarded a grant, and I think Commissioner Martin was I think he was the chair at the time of the Clean Air Coalition. A lot of this was approved, but we were awarded a $5,000 grant for the energy initiatives that we've taken on in the county. We were awarded that, and I think the check is either on the way or we've already got it. So I would like to, it was because of energy initiatives and things we've done to reduce our energy, just like the lighting we were just talking about. So it's money we were not anticipating. I would like to get a consensus that we use that money for initiatives that were not a part of our lighting system, which is in the Knox Center. The performing arts down there, I know we heard it when we were there for the Veterans Day. Our kids are putting on amazing performances down there, and I'll be polite and say it's an embarrassment for the sound and the lights that we've got in that place, for us to be having a performing arts department there, and our kids are inviting other people to come in and watch them perform these plays. I've been to a couple of them and if anybody has a 5-6-year-old granddaughter that can sit quietly and still and like this during a whole performance, that says enough. So I hope we can get consensus to put that money towards lighting and sound. It won't dare pay for all of it, but it'll be a good start, and let them know that we are conscientious of the needs of that building, because they're there for sure.
Put that on the next agenda to vote on.
Yeah.
I would echo that sentiment, and I know they presented it to us, and we had some budget challenges. Let's get their input, and definitely upgrade the board and the mics, because they presented that to us a few years ago.
The soundboard, we did upgrade the soundboard.
The board's pretty nice.
Yeah.
The light board is still a good light board. It's the actual lights on the stage themselves are basically just outdated.
Yeah.
They need to be, the stage lights themselves is what needs to be upgraded.
Yeah, I definitely think we need input from Lisa and
Absolutely.
And even Greg and Matt and the electrical folks to get that.
Is it? Citizen comments. Anybody like to come forward tonight? Come forward.
Hello. Jan Andrews, 122 Yukon Road, Macon, Georgia. Mr. Commissioner, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman, excuse me, Commissioners. This is a simple problem that I think can be remedied without costing the county any money. We have a situation on the back row where we sit. Usually there's a sheriff's deputy, and it's usually Mr. Deputy Douglas. And the chairs are so small that he, with all of his equipment and his belt and his gun and all of just everything, he has to take off as much as he is allowed to take off. And then he still can't fit in the chair. So I'm sure there's a chair somewhere in this building that could be swapped out to take care of our.
We could put him on the keto diet.
We even thought about maybe putting a bench across the back, but that would cost money. So if there's a chair somewhere in the building that could just be swapped out.
There
and
are
maybe
so many Krispy Kreme jokes right now. I see them coming.
I think we could use that one to say reserved for the sheriff's department.
Exactly.
We need to put reserved for sheriff's deputy.
Come on, deputy.
So it's rather difficult for whoever sits there if it's not him or another deputy. So I just make that request. So
Bet we can
hopefully.
find a chair without arms on it.
Yeah,
Without arms
Whatever.
on it.
It does.
thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Let me just reiterate, we talked earlier about census, but I just wanted to make sure from Family Connection standpoint that you all had copies of what we would be putting out in January. And just still ask for your support, of course,
Thank
for
you.
the census coming up. Also, let's see, at the library Monday at 10 o'clock. No, I'm sorry. At the library, Jones County Public Library, from 12 to 3. The census jobs bus, the tour bus, will be here. It's traveling the state, and they will be in Jones County for those few hours, along with Monroe County that morning, promoting the census. And they will be accepting applications for jobs. With flexible hours, $14 to $18 per hour is the pay. One of the other things we have going on with Family Connection is our suicide prevention awareness campaign. We're doing a suicide prevention coalition that started for the county. And we are working with Augusta University to provide QPR training. It's question, persuade, and refer training. It's known as the CPR for suicide prevention. We have some classes that are available now, and I have brochures on that as well. So we'll have a float at the parade coming up with information going out. So just to kind of let you know, as of 2016, Jones County was 10th in the state for our suicide rates for the county, and that is an age-adjusted suicide rate that we look at. Our numbers did improve somewhat in 2018, but still it's an area of concern for us. So we are working with Augusta University through a DBHDD grant to provide resources for the community. Okay?
Can you clarify that? So
Sure.
we're 10th out of 159.
Correct.
Okay, just making sure.
And that is, yeah.
14 to 15, isn't it?
The average age, well, we have two areas of concern as far as the age groups go. 15 to 19 is a great area of concern, as well as 45 to 54. Those are our two highest age segments.
Have we seen any of the data that shows potential causes, any reference to social media or pressures or challenges, workplace life?
No, really,
management?
the only basis that we have to look at any of that type of data would be the the student health survey that's conducted for 6th through 12th graders, that it asks several questions related to mental health, specifically, considering suicide or have attempted suicide. Those we do run a little higher than state averages when you look at it. But there's also data that comes from that student health survey related to just the moderate risk to severe risk of mental health concerns. There again, so you look at, the number of days of overwhelming sadness, lack of an appetite, avoiding eating, that type of thing. And there again, we're running a little bit higher than state averages. So looking at those areas and seeing where we can put initiatives in place to be proactive really are our main focus right now.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else tonight? Ladies first, John. Come on.
I'm not really sure if I'm in the right place. This
Come
is
on,
what we
Wolf.
need to be doing, but we had a petition to get our road changed from private to public, and we were told to come here tonight. So,
Okay, I tell you what we can do, we can get you on the next agenda and
Okay.
and visit it. How's that?
that's fine.
All right.
That's fine.
If you'll call up here, 986-6405,
Okay.
has to be put on our next agenda,
Okay.
and we'll be more than happy to look at it.
Or just go ahead and tell me your name and,
Andrea Wims, and that's Wimes.
and what's the name of the road?
They still call you that nickname? They don't call you that nickname anymore?
Brookwood Trail.
Okay.
Some people do.
Yeah. Her dad used to work for
Poor fellow. Okay. And you want to go from private to public?
Yes.
Okay.
And we actually did a petition, and I think it was turned in, and we were told to come in tonight.
them. We didn't have you on the agenda, but we'd be more than happy to hear it.
All right.
Hey, thank you. Good to
Thank
see you.
you.
Do we have a petition?
John?
I'll have to check and see.
Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. John Wood, Olive Green Road. In the era of transparency, I know we broadcast these meetings for the public at home and those that can't make it, but I'm ask you, let's broadcast the work sessions, whether it be a budget discussion during the summer or a work session such as tonight, because it's eye-opening to the people. It would be very eye-opening to people that were not here tonight to see how their elected officials conduct business on their behalf.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
So, I mean, I ask you to do that, hopefully by the first of the year.
Sure.
And everything after that, budgets, work sessions, everything, broadcast it
Absolutely.
all.
It's actually recorded, but it's not.
It's just not videoed, yeah. I'm
Right, but
I'm in-
video and audio.
Yep.
I think it'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, John.
Anyone else? Mr. Martin, you want to do the pleasures tonight?
Oh, absolutely. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Hey, Jason, do you want that order that we have talked about?
I have had indigestion ever since. Must be, who walked in the door. I mean, when you,
outside.